A very happy new year to everybody here on the show tonight. Good evening and welcome to the Hogmanay Show 2025/2026. I say slash because I've just been for one. And I'm not talking about the guitar player. I'm full of puns tonight because I've been drinking rather excessively. I hope everybody is doing well. And is not as well past drunk as I am, because I am pretty well oiled, shall we say. I've been drinking most of the day, and I am this is my second bottle of the bubbly stuff, and I'm halfway through it already. Plus, I have already had 2 glasses of red wine. The bottle is no longer here. But yes, I'm pretty well oiled. Plus, I have a fridge full of beers back there as well, which must be consumed. So I hope everybody is having a wonderful time celebrating the end of 2025 and the beginning of 2026. So there are 2 things we are going to do this evening, apart from drinking, swearing, and drinking some more, and maybe swearing some more. There are 2 other things we are going to do. Number 1, we are going to predict what Presonus is going to come out with in 2026. And then we're going to watch and wait and see if our predictions come true. And if they do, on the nearest either Songwriting Simplified or Sunday Night Live, the one that predicts it is going to come back into the chat and say, hey, I predicted this on New Year's Eve, and hey presto, it's fulfilled. So that's the first thing we're going to do. But we're also going to announce the winner of the Christmas songwriting contest. That is a wee bit belated. I apologize for that. It was meant to be announced and all done and dusted before Christmas. However, I had to extend it for several reasons, which I'm not going to go into. But we've extended it, and mostly because I wanted to see if we could get some more people in and some more entries. And we've got some really good entries, and we have a winner. And the winner, by the way, is a decisive winner. So if you have entered the songwriting contest for Christmas, please stick around, because you may be the one that is the winner. And if you are, then you will get a prize, and you will get plaudits from everybody in the chat and everybody who is going to be commenting, watching this on the replay as well. So yes, there is much to this prize and to your victory. So please do stick around if you have taken part in the contest. So let's see who is here. I'm here, obviously, and I think let me go check the other chat, because I have the chat open on both screens, because if I'm using Studio One on the main screen, I still need to see the chat on this screen as well. So I have it on both screens, and it looks like Billy Morgan is in his rightful place as the first one in the room, followed by Kyle Trajuziak, and Rich Cresswell is also here. Just Bob is here. Dave is here, who says that he made some lemonade, also added mayonnaise to the hollandaise to your Benedict eggs, kept at strict 70 degrees centigrade, Celsius, you mean? How many would you like, Jonny? Not the hollandaise, no. But the lemonade sounds good. And Dave then says, and I think this is addressed to everybody, so it's worth reading. He says, you are all simply awesome, every one of you. I thank every one of you for many reasons. This year we kicked some arse. Yes, we did. We most certainly did. I think everybody did. And I want to echo what Dave has said here. I want to thank every single one of you. If you're watching this now live, thank you very much for watching this and all the other shows, Songwriting Simplified, Sunday Night Lives, that we have done throughout 2025. And to those of you that are watching on replay for a variety of reasons, I want to thank you as well, because I know that there are a number of you that don't catch the live show, but you do watch the replays. So I want to thank you as well from the bottom of my heart and say thank you for your support. To every single one of you who has subscribed to this channel in 2025, a big thank you to you as well, because this channel wouldn't exist without your support. I would not be doing shows at midnight and at 1 o'clock in the morning if it wasn't for you guys. You guys are the reason why I stay up late at night, because I love making content that helps you, that serves you, that helps you get better as songwriters, as producers, as mixers, as users of Studio One and Presonus products. That's what I live for. I've been doing this since before I became an employee of Presonus. And I decided when I became an employee of the company that I would continue to do these shows and I would continue to make videos when I can. And the reason why I chose to do this is because I figured I could actually help you more as a company man than I could before I was a company man. And so though I do this on my own time and this channel is no longer sponsored by Presonus because I work for the company, there's a conflict of interest if the channel is sponsored by them whilst I work for the company. Makes no sense. So I do this entirely just for fun. I do this for enjoyment. I do this because I love you guys a lot. And I do this because it's just a great thing to do. And I live for it. I really do. I really, really look forward to my Wednesday nights and my Sunday nights where I get to interact with you guys. I get to answer your questions. I get to show you things about music theory, about songwriting, about producing, about mixing, and I get to show you new things in Studio One or refresh your memories about things in Studio One that you maybe had forgotten about. I live for that. I love what I do. I love my job at Presonus. Technically my job title is technical support agent, but I do a lot more than that. In the company, I work in quality assurance as well, and I work in social media marketing as well. So I have my fingers in a number of different pies within the company, and I also do this for my channel, which is entirely for fun. And you know, fun is what this is all about. I do this for free. I don't expect anybody to pay for anything here. It's all for fun. But if you guys want to donate, want to throw some money my way, I'm all for it. I don't stop anybody from doing that, but that's not the reason why I do it. So a big thank you to everybody who has supported this channel over the last year. You guys have been amazing. All the likes, all the subscriptions, and the occasional money that you throw my way via PayPal makes a big difference. And it helps me. It helps me a lot. It's helped me improve the lighting for these videos. And by the way, there's more to come. For 2026, I am hoping to get a rig for an extra camera so that we have a top-down view for the keyboard. Whether my graphics card on my computer will handle that will be another question, but it is something I definitely want to try. And your donations to PayPal certainly make things like that and improvements like that makes those things possible. So those of you that have donated money my way, thank you so very much. You guys are epic. So, Dave, thank you for prompting that. I appreciate that a lot. Daryl Harrison is also here. Dwayne is lurking around, he says. Carl Traduciak was watching the Edinburgh Hogmanay live on YouTube. Yes. And believe it or not, when the guy on that show said that the Edinburgh street party is the largest street party in the world, that is a fact. He wasn't just being hyperbolic. It is actually a fact. It is the largest street party in the world. And nothing comes close to it. There are other street parties in Scotland for Hogmanay. Nothing comes close to the one in Edinburgh. You get between 40 and 45,000 people on Princess Street and Princess Street Gardens in Edinburgh every Hogmanay. And it is by far and away the biggest New Year's celebration in the world. The Christmas market might not be as big as some of the other ones that are in the world. I think Hamburg at the moment holds the record for the largest Christmas market. I've been there. I went there last Christmas, and I went there this Christmas, and actually it was bigger this year in Hamburg than it was last year. And it was amazing. It's absolutely monstrous. It's huge. But it doesn't have some of the things that Edinburgh has. Like, it doesn't have the big wheel for a start, and it doesn't have some of the other attractions and rides and shit like that. It's much more of a traditional German Christmas market, but it's absolutely fucking massive. Let's see who else is here. And I swore for the first time in 2026. Congratulations, Lipsham. And I swore again. Dwayne says, sweariness officially expected on a Hogmanay special event. Yes, you're absolutely right. I don't swear at any other time on my channel unless a show coincides with either Hogmanay or my birthday. And it did for my 50th birthday. I think I got incredibly drunk for my 50th birthday. So, yeah. I am already considerably well oiled, by the way. So don't ask me anything particularly complicated. Let me see who else is here. Steve Wilson is here. Hello, Stephen, my good friend. How are you? I hope you are doing well. Keith is here as well. Keith, I hope you are doing well, my friend. And I'm glad you're here. Brett is here. He says, Happy New Year to all east of the Atlantic. Absolutely. Chris Rackner is here, my dear friend. Chris, how are you, my friend? I hope you are well, mate. And you guys are laughing at me going for a pee. Yeah, I suddenly had this urge that I needed to go for a pee before we started the show. Who else? Sean Aaron is here as well. Kyle says the next version of Studio One has AI for getting the right snare sound. Set it off and it tries for several days and then it finally gives up. Now that is a wonderful prediction. I love that. Chasm51 is here. I don't quite know who you are, my friend, but welcome. And I'm glad you're here for my Hogmanay special show. Normally, just as a caveat, I don't normally get absolutely fucking rat-arsed for my show. Normally, I am very sober. But this is Hogmanay. This is New Year's Eve, so I am definitely drinking the sparkling, bubbly shit. Of which I have over half a bottle of my second bottle left. So I intend to drink all of that before the end of the show. Somebody says that JG is here. He is here! Dear Lord! Jonny Gibe is here. Jonny and I go back more than 10 years. Jonny is one of the finest educators when it comes to Studio One that you will find on the internet. No question. So anybody asks me, is there anyone better on the internet for talking about Studio One? No, there isn't. That's just a fact. Jonny Gibe is the shit. He really is. He is freaking awesome. I love him very dearly. He and I have been very close friends for oh gosh, it's got to be 12, nearly 13 years now. And he is a great guy. He has an absolute heart of gold. And you know, he doesn't just make videos, okay? He goes that extra mile as well. He does private, like, Zoom sessions. You got to pay him to do it, and you should pay him to do it. And if you don't, I'm going to fucking smack your face. But yes, he does, like, private Zoom sessions if you want to learn stuff. And he will take extra time to teach you stuff and help you get set up. Like, if you've got a new rig, you're not sure how to set up Studio One and all of your gear, Jonny Gibe is your man. He will get you up and running very quickly. So pay him the dough and he will get you going. Absolutely. No question. And to be honest, in tech support, sometimes we send folks to Jonny because they need help with getting set up. And sometimes we are just too busy. There is just a lot of tickets. And so Jonny Gibe is the man for setting people up and getting them up and running. So sometimes we send folks over to him. Jonny, he's great. He's a terrific guy. The best in the business. And he actually does some contract work for PreSonus. So yeah, he's as good as an employee for PreSonus, to be honest. But yeah, Jonny, love you, man. Glad you're here. Dave says, what the fuck? I like this term, rat-assed. It's a keeper. Yeah, it's kind of a British thing. I mean, it's actually an English term. It's not really a Scottish term, but I'm kind of borrowing it from the English because I think it's a good little saying. Jonny Gibe says, yo, bro. He says, I appreciate that. He says, so long as I'm not a shit. No, you definitely aren't a shit. You are the shit. He says, Zoom sessions boomed this month. The short ones I do for free. But yes, he does do long form Zoom sessions. So, yes. As Brett says, there's a tagline for Jonny's whole fucking business. You pay him the dough you pay him the dough to get you to go. That's it. That's the line. That is the tagline for Jonny Gibe right there. Absolutely. 100%. And Jonny says, love you too, man. Yeah. Jonny's the best. Just Bob says, Jonny is a fantastic teacher, mentor, and friend. He most certainly is. And, he's awesome. Golden Nighthawk. I'll start that again. Take 2 and action. Golden Nighthawk is here. He says, hail to you, my friend. Depends on the size of the hailstones, though. I mean, you know, certain parts of the United States, those can get pretty big. Sometimes they can be like, you know, baseball, softball sized. They can do a lot of damage. But here in Scotland, I think the biggest the biggest hailstone I've ever seen in Scotland was this big. And I was so amazed at the size of it that I put it in the freezer and it is still there. And that was in the summertime and it's still in the freezer now. But I was amazed at how big it is because we normally get hailstones that are about this big. But these were this big and, you know, they, you know, when they're that size, they can still do damage. And they did do some damage. A few people's cars got wrecked. Yeah, like windshields got wrecked and things like that. But grapefruit sized, baseball sized, like you get in the South, in the Texas Panhandle and things like that, when you have really, really strong updrafts or microbursts. Yeah, they can be nasty. Ken Lamorter is here. He says, cheers to you from the USA. Thank you for what you do. Seriously, dude, you said cheers, so I've got to do the same. Cheers to you, my friend Ken. He says, thank you for what you do. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. I love what I do. I love doing these shows. I love talking about PreSonus products. I love talking about Studio One in particular. I love talking about Notion. And by the way, there will be more Notion content coming in 2026. I know not everybody is a notation reader, but I intend to make some content which will help get you to at least understand some notation to a point where you can use the score editor in Studio One and maybe even Notion as well, especially if you're working with musicians who do read notation and you need to give them a chart. There are circumstances where there are people I know who they don't know anything about music notation, and so they use the score editor, but they don't really know what they're doing in Studio One, and they give them a chart, and it's maybe in the wrong transposition for their instrument they're playing, and it doesn't kind of work. So I intend to make some content that is going to help you guys learn how notation works in a very bare bones basic way, a little bit like a bit of a crash course in notation, so that you are able in a very practical way to be able to give a chart to an alto sax player or a tenor sax player or a trumpet player. You know, like if you've got like a solo that you want them to play, or you've got some horn section parts, how to write those kind of things out using the score editor in Studio One and Notion, and be able to give them the right transpositions for their instruments. So that is coming for 2026. So if you are interested in that, then please do either say so in the chat, or even better, because the chat disappears after time, even better, email me. Drop me an email, johnny@johnnylipshamstudios.co.uk, and if you want notation content for Notion and the score editor, then please register your interest that way. And then, you know, if there is sufficient interest that warrants me taking the time to make those kind of things, I will do it for sure. So if I get a few people that want it, I'll make some short form videos that will help you do that. And so, yeah, so I will do that. And then if we get a lot more interest, then I will make some longer form tutorial videos that will help you even more. So there we go. Dwayne says, I can confirm the hail size in the Texas Panhandle since I was born and raised there. Yes, they can get pretty impressive. And you can get a lot of tornadoes down in the Texas Panhandle as well. And they can be pretty phenomenally large and very scary, very damaging. Brett says, you tend to learn a language far easier if you learn to read it and write it. That's true to a degree. At the moment, I am using the application called Duolingo, which some of you may or may not have heard of. And I'm learning not notation. I am learning German. And the reason why I'm learning German is because our software team are all Germans or they're Austrian. They're either Germans or they're Austrian. There's like a couple of Romanians as well. But, you know, the primary language there is either German or English. And so I'm figuring that it's going to be more helpful to them if I can speak at least some German. And with my visits to Hamburg as well, it's going to be helpful for me to be able to speak some German, to be able to get around. Case in point, what actually sparked this off? Because my summertime visit to Hamburg, I had no problems at all. Everybody speaks fabulous English. It's really, really great. I had no trouble at all. But when I went there for Christmas, getting a cab from Hamburg Airport to the PreSonus software office, let's just say, was a little bit tricky because the guy didn't speak any English. and he couldn't understand my Scottish accent at all. So I ended up having to use Duolingo to kind of help us talk to each other. It kind of worked, but I figured, you know what? Wouldn't it be better? In fact, I used Google Translate, I think is what I did. But I figured, hey, wouldn't it be better if I actually just learn at least a wee bit of the language so that I can tell a cab driver where I need to get to in a way that he's going to be able to understand? So that's what I'm doing. I'm learning German for entirely conversational purposes. So I don't think it's going to be necessary for me to learn to read it or write it. I'm not going to need written or reading German. I'm not going to need that. But I am going to need to be able to speak conversational German. So that's kind of what I'm doing. But notation, yes, notation is best understood through reading and through practice and through, seeing it on a screen, seeing what a note value actually is in terms of time. So I intend to use the score editor and the note editor together, seeing as you can actually pin them both together on the screen. I intend to basically use the score editor and the note editor to show you what a note value is in terms of actual linear time. So you get an understanding of what a quarter note is, what an eighth note is, what a half note is, and so on and so forth. And I'll be using those terms rather than, crotchets, minims, semi-breves, and all the other weird Greek/Latin/English terms that we use for note values on this side of the pond. The more mathematical orientated terms for notational values in the US make far more sense internationally, globally. So I'll be using those. I won't be referring to crotchets and all of that shit. So yes, notation. Awesome sauce for some drum charts and bass lines. Yeah, drum charts. I will do some stuff on writing and transcribing drum charts. It's important stuff. Let's see. Caleb is here. Hello, happy new year to you, Caleb. You guys in the United States won't be there yet, but I already am, and I can tell you 2026 is fucking awesome. So tonight, for those of you that are just joining us 30 minutes into the show, it's fine. We'll keep going for a good while yet. But for those of you just joining us, we are going to be predicting what is going to come from Presonus in 2026. What do you think? Software, hardware? Use your imaginations. Let's see what you can come up with. And then let's see over the course of 2026 if you're right. And if you are, post it in a live show and say, hey, that thing I predicted at New Year's has come to pass. That would be great. I would love to be able to tie something that Presonus comes out with to something that you guys predicted. That would be fucking awesome. Jonny is working tonight. He says he's got to run. Dude, working New Year's Eve? Holy shit, man. That's not great. Anyway, take care. Have a good work shift, and I will talk to you very soon, Jonny. You and I need to get on a Teams call or a messenger call or something like that in the next day or two. So just let me know when you're available, Jonny. Just Bob says, I would like to see in 2026 Fender expand Ampire with some Fender amp sims and presets from the Fender Toolmaster Pro. You know what? That is a terrific prediction. I love that. And as a bass player, I totally agree. I am a bass player. I'm a drummer. I'm a piano player. I'm a vocalist. I do have a guitar. It's not a Fender guitar, unfortunately. It's an Ibanez. But I would never class myself as a guitar player. I'm a fake guitar player. In fact, I'm not even a fake guitar player. I'm a fake guitar player. I don't even know how to play a G chord or an E chord. I know how to play an E minor 9 chord. I know how to play a C major 7 sharp 11 chord. I know how to play, weird chords. I don't know how to play basic chords. And I don't know how to use, a plectrum. Every time I try and use a plectrum, it just pings across the room and I lose it. So I decided, you know what? I'm not going to waste any more money on plectrums, and I'm just going to use my fingers instead. But yeah. Amp sims would be great, especially bass amp sims. That would be cool. Now, the Fender Tone Master Pro had an update in the summertime that actually includes some more bass amps. So I am hopeful that maybe some of those might make their way into Studio One in some way, shape, or form. That would be great. So I am with you on that, and let's see if that actually happens. Sean Carr is here as well. He says, "Good evening, folks. Happy almost New Year." Dude, it's almost New Year. It is New Year. Here in Scotland, we are already in the future. And I am 1 hour and 37 minutes into the future. And 2026 so far is great. I am definitely not legal to drive. I mean, I'm not legal to drive anyway because I don't hold a driver's license. But the amount of this stuff I've consumed, I am definitely getting pulled over. But yeah. Let's see. Yeah, start posting in the chat, folks, what you think is going to come. I want to see those. And then in a wee while, we will get into who the winner of the songwriting contest is. Let's see. Just Bob says, for 2026, a possible VST that takes vocal words or phrases and converts them to a full choir, bass, soprano, etc. Probably through a keyboard. Now, that would be wild. But very, very cool. I would like to see that too. That would be amazing. I doubt that will be a 2026 thing. But you know what? I think you are particularly ballsy for predicting such a VST. I don't think Presonus would make it. But I think you might find that some third-party manufacturers might do something like that. Now, there is already the Waves Ovox, if you've ever heard of that. There was a whole bunch of ads running for it, I think, earlier in the year. That looks to be a pretty amazing kind of little thing where you can sing something and then it gets converted into note data, basically. So maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe some AI. I don't know. Interesting. I like that though. I like that. The whole idea of converting something you sing into a choir. I like that. There are some really, really, really good choir virtual instruments that are out there already. For example, just by way of one particular example, there are several, but one particular example, Native Instruments have worked with Jacob Collier because he has done his world tour of his most recent album. And as you may know, if you know who Jacob is, one of the things he does is he converts his audience into a choir. And he has different parts of the orchestra singing different pitches to create chords, create harmony, and things like that. And so Jacob has worked with Native Instruments to take all of those recordings and turn it into a virtual instrument. So you can use the audiences from Jacob's shows in your songs. That's very cool. I haven't actually used it myself, but it is really, really cool from what I have heard from people that do use it. Brett says, I agree that Ampire is long overdue for an upgrade. I would like a quantized to parts / track where you can just lock everything to a certain part, just in case you're not using the grid. That's interesting. I see where you're going with that. I'm not quite sure how that would work in practice, though, if you're not using the grid. So basically, your performance is not quantized to the grid, but you want the parts to lock to each other so they stay in sync with each other. Not quite sure how that would work in practice, but I do like the idea, the premise of the idea. I like that. Dave says, my prediction is instead of a VU or spectrum analyzer, perhaps having fun yet. I think it's worth it, Dave. Oh, I think you mean like, for those of you that remember Word from like the late 90s, the early 2000s, where you had Clippy, you know, the little paperclip character who made helpful suggestions of, you know, like, hey, your spelling's a bit shit here, or that grammar's a bit fucked up. Maybe you need to go back to school and learn your tenses, stuff like that Clippy would come out with. Maybe Cleffy for notation, and some other kind of icon for where you're mixing. Some kind of virtual mix engineer who can basically say, hey, dude, you've been working on that snare drum track for 6 hours. It still sounds like somebody with a 13-pound mallet striking a massive, great big German Shepherd dog steaming pile of shit. You know, things like that. I would agree. That could be quite useful. Let's see. What else do we have here? Bob Kane is here. Hello, Robert. Good to see you, mate. He says, improved stem separation, expansion of video production tools, additional mastering tools. There are good limiters and compression, but maybe plugins centered around mastering, maybe with AI. Oh, so you're talking about expanding maybe what's available in the project page. Maybe using some AI technology from maybe what Lander is doing, L&R. By the way, that's the proper name for the company, L&R. But everybody, for whatever reason, I think, well, actually for very good reason, called it Lander. But the people at L&R, they say, hey, no, the company is actually called L&R, not Lander. But still, it's one of those things where it's an acronym that's stuck and everybody calls it Lander. So why not? Why not just call it Lander? Because that's what we've all called it for years. Makes sense. But yes, I like the idea of improved separation because the stem separation is actually at the moment, it's fairly basic and it could do with expanding a wee bit. Now, here's the thing with the stem separation tool. We first introduced that into Studio One version 7 for the very first time. So as with most things that are introduced for the very first time into Studio One, it does evolve, it does develop, and it does grow. You know, think back to version 2.5 when Melodyne was first integrated into Studio One using ARA, for example, and then think forward to where we are now with Melodyne and how much Melodyne has improved and how much ARA has improved to the point where there's lots of other companies that have developed plugins that are ARA compatible, like, you know, Isotope are beginning to finally listen to their customer base and considering making a version of RX that is going to work in ARA because everybody's been asking for it for at least 10 years. So, you know, there's that. So with that in mind, things like stem separation, because it's kind of new, it's kind of a little bit basic. It's like the chord track for version 4 when that was introduced as an industry first. A chord track that integrates that works at the audio event level, not just on the MIDI note data, but on the audio event level, as an industry first, which it was with 4.0, and it was a little bit rudimentary. It was a wee bit basic. Go look at my version 4 video where I did an entire video that looked just at the chord track. And yeah, it's a little bit bare bones basic. It will only do 4-part harmony. It won't do expanded harmony. It really struggles with dominant chords. It's fine with major sevenths, struggles with dominant chords, but if you extend dominant chords into sharp 9s, sharp 11s, flat 13s, things like that, it throws its hands up and goes, I don't know what that is. But flash forward to version 7 of Studio One, which is where we're at now, 7.2.3, and the chord track is much better. The detection of harmony is much better. It doesn't struggle quite so much with expanded harmony now. It still sometimes goes, I'm not quite sure what that is, but it's much better. So there's good scope for where things like stem separation can go, I think. Just Bob says, a VST that you can record scratch with. Oh, you mean like turntable scratch with vinyl? Yeah, I quite like the sound of that. Assign knobs to a turntable and spin and a keyboard or QWERTY to act as a fader. That's interesting. There is isotope vinyl, I think, that does do some vinyl samples. Gives you a little bit of wow and flutter and gives you some crackles and things like that. I don't know that it does things like scratching though, but so scratching would be quite cool. Especially for house and trap. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Sean says Lander, grinder, same problem. Yeah, you're not kidding right there. So yes, it is actually meant to be L&R. Not Lander. I know it kind of looks that way because it's L and then the word and then the word R, and if you squish them together, which is what they did with their very first logo, it does look like that. It does look like Lander. It really does, and that's why I think everybody kind of stuck with that as kind of an acronym for it. I have spoken to people that actually work for Lander. They are employees there, and they say, yes, the company's called L&R, but you know what? People call it Lander. We don't really give a shit. It's fine. If you want to call it Lander, or you can call it L&R. But L&R is technically what it's supposed to be called. So there you go. Darth Vader icon. Yeah, I would like that as well, actually. In fact, when you first turn up the Master Fader, I would like it if it goes dun 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 bam bam. That would be great if it does like the first 8 bars of the Imperial March. That would be great when you start up Studio One. That would be cool. L&R is great gimmick. Lander, yes, you remember is it as opposed to L&R. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Which is why they didn't stop people from calling it calling it Lander, because they thought it's kind of a nice little acronym. It kind of slips off the tongue. It's good. I find your lack of gain disturbing. I find your clipping disturbing. That's pretty cool. Yes. I can't, my voice is not anywhere near low enough to do the James Earl Jones Darth Vader voice, unfortunately. It just wouldn't work. I have quite a high-pitched voice. I mean, when I'm talking, it's kind of, it's upper, mid-range. When I sing, I have a very high voice. I've never had a low voice, ever. I've never really been able to do low notes, ever. Either in speech or in song. Never been able to do it. So we got 17 people here. You guys are all fucking mental being here at this time of the evening. But I suppose if you're in the United States, it's not a big deal. Because, it's not very late in the United States. For example, in US Eastern, it is 8:51. If you're in the central time zone, it is 7:51. So the night is young for you guys. For me, it is almost 2 a.m. It is 1:51 in the morning here. So maybe actually if you are in the United States, it's not that fucking mental. But you should all be definitely drinking. So if you have beer, get it open. If you have the bubbly stuff, get it open. If you have wine, pop the fucking cork. Get the thing open. Let's drink. Just Bob says, can you tell the difference between clipping and the recording of the shoes in Riverdance? Fortunately, when they recorded the shoes in Riverdance, they were actually very, very low in the mix, as I recall. If you're not redlining, you're not headlining. That's very good, Brett. I like that. An old Sith proverb. That's very good. That is very good. Anyone else got any 2026 predictions of what Presonus is going to come out with in 2026, seeing as that's where we are now? Man, I'm going to have a hard time getting used to saying 2026. I really am. I had a hard enough time saying 2025. So I'm bound to at least say the date or write the date wrong a few times in Q1 of 2026. It's going to happen. But if you guys are done with predictions for now, or you are just thinking of predictions just now, why don't I move on a little bit and actually talk about the Christmas songwriting contest? For those of you guys that took part, maybe you might want to know who the winner is. So, let me tell you the story, at least a little bit, of the songwriting contest. We did not actually have very many entries, but the entries we did have were good. They were really good. There were some very, very good entries. Honorable mention has to go to Christina in Denmark. She did a little song where she used some of the Motown style loops that come with Studio One. And she didn't just stop there. She went Motown. Like, she embraced the whole production style of Motown. So she went with the big reverbs and all of that. And she did a really, really great effort at trying to go for that kind of soul Motown sound with the production, with the lyrics, with the form of the song, and then using the loops to structure her song. So, Christina has to get very, very serious plaudits. And in fact, we should all give her some applause, some love, and a big pat on the back for her song, because it was a really, really terrific effort. The ending of the song was maybe not quite together, but overall, the whole song was a fantastic effort. She really kind of listened to what that Motown sound, what the Motown vibe is like, and it wasn't pastiche. It wasn't like she was just doing pastiche Motown. She actually embraced the whole vibe of Motown, and so I think she should definitely get some love and some encouragement for that, because it was terrific. It's not something I've heard her do before. Christina is mostly a jazz singer, and she's a piano player, and so for her to come out with something that was definitely a little bit out of her comfort zone, in a genre that she doesn't really do much of, is really, really good. So Christina, well done to you. Excellent effort. Next most honorable mention goes to Dave, actually. So Dave, don't have a heart attack just now, because I've just mentioned you. Your effort was very, very good too. I liked the vibe that you went for. You went for this kind of sunshine, Caribbean island, kind of tropical kind of vibe. I liked it a lot. It was good. It was a really good effort. And it made me think of like the few times, and there haven't been many times, but the few times where I've had that privilege of being able to celebrate Christmas on the beach. In a much warmer climate where it's like t-shirt, shorts kind of weather, on the beach, and having my roast turkey dinner on the beach. And it took me to that place. So Dave, very well done to you, mate. I really enjoyed it. And whilst I'm talking about Dave's song, I also have to talk about Kyle's mix of that song as well. Kyle did this really nice little fade in to the intro, which I really liked, and then the slap back delay on the drums as well. I liked that too. It was really, really good. The mix was maybe a little bit quieter than Dave's actual song, but you know what? The balance of the mix was very, very good. And actually, one of the things that Kyle did was he brought the drums much further forward than they were in Dave's original mix. In Dave's original mix, the kick drum was actually quite loud, but the snare drum was barely audible. It was there, but felt like the kick drum was in one room. The snare drum was kind of like down the corridor and in the bathroom a little bit. Whereas Kyle actually brought the drums all together and brought them nicely forward. So the mix was very, very good. And brought out some detail actually in Dave's song that I had not heard when I listened to his original mix of the song. So Dave, great effort, mate. Well done. So, to the winner. I don't even know if he's here because the time zone might be a thing for him. I don't see him in chat, which is a bit of a shame. So, the winner is, drumroll please, everybody. And I'm going to do the slightly dramatic pause because I want to have something to drink first. So the winner of the 2025 Christmas Songwriting Challenge is... Juan Weissman. There you go, JW. Juan Weissman over in Argentina is our winner for the Christmas Songwriting Challenge for 2025. So a big congratulations to you, Juan. So everybody in the chat, please immediately go and message Juan and tell him he's won. And please tell him he needs to reach out to Rich Cresswell, and we will get him sorted with his prize. So the prize he has won is a year of Studio One Pro Plus, which I believe he already has. So given that he has, then that might actually extend it by an extra year. So he'll end up with 2 years worth of Studio One Pro Plus, which I think is going to be a great result for Juan. So if somebody could please go and reach out to him via text message and tell him that he's won, I would appreciate that. And yes, I totally agree with Dave here. Juan is a sweetheart. He really is. He's a great, great, great guy. And he is such a talented guitar player. And he really thought through this song really, really well. For those of you that aren't sure what I'm talking about, the song is terrific. It starts with this dial-up thing, the old dial-up tone that you got when you were in the 90s and or early 2000s and you were connecting to the internet via dial-up. He had that whole sound going on, and then the whole song was all about connecting with people. And it was brilliantly creative. The way he used that sample of the dial-up sound and then developed the whole story of the narrative of that song from that sound, it was great. It took me right back to being a single guy living in a room in a shared house and connecting to the internet exactly like that via dial-up, and hearing that dial-up tone, and it taking about, you basically started your connection and then you went off and made a cup of coffee and you brought your coffee back and it connected to the internet by that time. I totally remember that sound. It's such an iconic sound. And then for Juan to then take that as the springboard for this whole narrative about connecting with people at Christmas time. Brilliant. Brilliant. Not only did he fulfill the brief of writing something creative about what Christmas means to him, but he did it in such a relatable way that I think everybody in 2025, 2026 can think of. So, big congratulations to Juan. Well done to you, my friend. Great song, no question about it being the winner. Rich and I basically, we listened to the songs. We listened to all of the songs, and it was without question, Juan was the winner. Chris says he sure wishes he could hear the submissions. Okay, for those of you that have made submissions in the workspace, I know we talked about this last time, because we do everything in a private workspace. I think the next step for you guys, if you are happy to do this, you are comfortable with doing this, please consider posting your song up on SoundCloud and then sharing the link so that people that are in our little community know where your song is and they can go and listen to it. So yeah, I'm with Chris on that one. Maybe we should make it a condition of the songwriting challenge, but see, I don't want to necessarily go there with that. And one of the reasons why is because I know that for some people, putting their music out online to a big, a much broader audience is a bit of a big thing. Like posting their song up on SoundCloud is a bit of a big thing for them because, potentially the whole world can go and listen to it. So that is a big thing. So I totally understand how some people might be nervous of that. Whereas uploading their work to something like a private workspace where only a handful of people are going to hear it, who are also all involved in the song contest, that's not so easy that's not so difficult to get your head into and get comfortable with. But Bob Kane, I think is one of those guys who, if you want to hear his submissions, I think he has his music up online anywhere. You might be able to find him on Spotify. You might be able to find him on SoundCloud. So go look up for Rob Kane on SoundCloud, and you're probably going to be able to find his music. And probably his entries are there already. Just Bob says, 2026 in presence, add electro-theremin. Think Good Vibrations, Beach Boys. Yeah, theremin is a great instrument. I would love there to be a theremin built into Studio One, for sure. Because then I wouldn't have to spend like the $400 or $500 on getting one for myself. It would just be there. However, the fun thing about a theremin is that it is one of those instruments where just having a sample of one in presence where you're playing the keyboard to do it doesn't really cut it, because a theremin has to be experienced, not just played via a virtual instrument on a keyboard. It has to be experienced because you control the pitch by how far your hand is away from the antenna, and then you control the volume by your hand passing through this little looped antenna, which is the volume control. And that's kind of how that works. So you move this hand to control volume, and this hand controls the pitch. It doesn't have to be a hand. It could be a finger. It could be your forehead. It could be any part of your body. It could be your elbow. It literally can be any part of your body that can trigger the theremin, for sure. And so for that reason, it's kind of, I think if we had a theremin virtual instrument for that reason, I kind of don't think it would be as good, because there isn't that tactile experience of using the instrument physically. You know, you'd have the sound of it, sure, but I don't think you would have kind of like the hands-on experience with a theremin that you get from an actual theremin. However, a theremin with a MIDI connection, that would be good. Definitely. Brett says to Rob Kane, your songs were very well done. Your production quality smoked mine severely. Got a Bon Jovi Christmas vibe. Well done. Yeah, Robert Kane's songs were definitely very, very good. There is no question about that. And you know, should definitely get a mention for the fact that they were very, very good. A theremin controller, yeah. Kyle, that's exactly what I was just talking about. We need a MIDI theremin controller. Chris says, I finally received my new Rolly Airwave. It is very cool. Chris, you need to tell me more about that, because I would love to hear all about the Airwave, for sure. Robert says, thank you. Did not release my original Christmas, but might be next year. I did a full album of traditional Christmas carols and covers this year and last. Good for you, my friend. I really didn't have a lot of time for doing anything that was Christmas this Christmas, unfortunately. You know, I did have plans for doing a big band version of Oh Holy Night for Christmas. That was going to be my thing for the Christmas Songwriting Challenge this year. Because last year I did like a jazz quintet version of Carol of the Bells. So this year, that's what I was going to do. I was going to do a big band version of Oh Holy Night. However, I went to Hamburg at the start of December, and I came back from Hamburg with possibly the worst fever, followed by the worst flu I have ever experienced in my entire life. It was absolutely fucking awful. It really was. My fever at one point peaked at 39.6 degrees Celsius, which is, that's very, very high. I mean, put it this way, if your body temperature goes over 41 degrees Celsius, you are in danger of death. So the fact that I got to 39.6 was pretty, yeah, that was pretty scary. And the flu aspect of it was just hideous. This new strain of flu that's going around, it isn't COVID, but I can see why some people might think it would be. It isn't COVID, but it's nasty. It is just as nasty as COVID, for sure. And so when I came back from Hamburg, I have pretty much been either in bed or working and then immediately going to bed. That's been the story of December for me. So I didn't get to do my entry for my own song contest this year. It's not been ideal. Yeah, 103.28 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's where I was. It was not nice. I had COVID twice. The first time my temperature was actually nearer to 104 than I've ever been, 104 Fahrenheit. And I was out of action for the better part of a whole month when I had COVID the first time. The second time, because I had already had it once, and of course I have had all of my vaccines, because vaccines are good. I had all of the COVID vaccines, so subsequent bouts of, subsequent times that I interacted with COVID, not really a big deal. I just felt a little bit shit. And I had a bit of a runny nose and a bit of a headache, and that was all I had, really. Subsequent times I had COVID rather. But this strain of flu is absolutely fucking nasty. It really is. Don't recommend it. Thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate that. Shlanty to you too, my friend. And I should say Shlanty. I need to fill up my bowl. My glass, rather. Oops. There we go. How much more drunk can I get? Bob Kane says, that sucks. Had a fever of 104 once. Very frightening. My wife had this flu right now. Yes, it is awful. It most certainly is. It's horrid. Don't recommend it. Kyle says, smart enough to have gotten a flu shot again this year. Yes. Now, Kyle, if you lived in the UK, you would be in the category where you could just get a flu shot very easily. Here in the UK, unless you're a healthcare employee, if you are under 60 years old, you are not considered high risk, and therefore they don't give you the flu shot automatically. You can pay to get it done, but they don't give it to you automatically as standard. But if you are 60 years old or older, and or if you are a healthcare professional, like my wife is a healthcare professional, so she just gets her flu shots every year, no question. She actually knows how to administer flu shots, so she gives them to some of her at-risk patients. But her colleagues are also qualified to give them, so she would just have a colleague just go and she's done. Thurman, be careful, as they could decap it. What? Decapitate? What the fuck word is that, Dave? Have you just invented a word? I don't even know what that word is. Robert says, herd flu vaccine given is not covering the strain that's circulating. This is actually largely true, because this particular strain of flu was a little, let's just say this mutation of flu was a little bit unexpected. They had not predicted that this strain of flu would exist, so they didn't really have vaccines that would cover this particular strain of flu. However, if you have been exposed to this particular strain of flu, you should have some degree of immunity. But I would certainly recommend getting a flu shot if you are eligible to get one. For sure. And if you're not eligible and you've got the money, providing they're not particularly expensive in your country, like here, not very expensive. I just pay, what, 10, 15 pounds and I'm done. I could just do that. Or I could just get it for free if I qualified, which I currently don't. But yes, my wife qualifies. She gets them every time. Mark Holly is here. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Welcome. It is 2:15 in the morning. We got 20 people here, so I'm just going to keep going and I'm going to keep drinking. So please keep your 2026 music technology predictions coming, especially if they feature Persona's products. Then please do. Maybe I should expand this out also to include Fender products, seeing as Fender is the parent company of Personas. Why not? Kyle is going to be back in just a wee minute, hopefully. I don't know if Rich Cresswell is still here or not. If he is, maybe he should make himself known that he is still here. Because maybe when I run out of steam, I run out of gas to do this show, he might run a lander session after the show if he's still up and about. He might not be, because he has been doing night shifts recently at his work, so he might just be done, like exhausted. So he might not be up for it. But if he is, please do say so, Rich. I would appreciate it if you are available. 20 people here. Good grief. 20 people here at like 2:15 in the morning. Oh my good grief. Just Bob went for a wee pee and he's back. Good for you, my friend. I'm glad you're back, and I hope you washed your hands. I had to say that. I had to get that in there. Sean Aaron says, Persona / Fender amplifier similar to the Boss Katana. Now that's an interesting proposition. So you're suggesting a Fender amp that maybe also works as an interface. That's a cool idea. Yeah, I like that. Just Bob says, I did. Oh boy. I smacked the mic with my glass. Sorry. I might have to go pee myself in a wee minute, so... which would be a first for my show. So, if you guys have got any questions about Studio One and songwriting and, you know, all the usual stuff that we cover on both Songwriting Simplified and Sunday Night Live. Technically, this is a Wednesday, so technically this is a Songwriting Simplified show, but I will take everything right now. I'll take songwriting questions, I'll take Studio One questions, I will take predictions of future Fender products, future Personas products. I will take all of that stuff, and we will see what happens with your predictions. But as I say, if your prediction does get fulfilled, let me know. That'd be cool. And we can feature that on the show at some point. And we can say, hey, this particular person predicted this particular thing in Studio One, or this particular Fender / Personas hardware product. That would be cool. Now, I seem to recall somebody further up in the chat that I missed said more quantum interfaces. I like that too, because we have the Quantum ES. I think there are two interfaces that are Quantum ES, and then we have the HD8 and the HD2. I would love to see that expanded too. I have the HD8. Thank you very much, Chris Marachna. I have the HD8, and I fucking love that thing. It's awesome. And you are hearing the sound of that now, because I am running my mic direct through the Quantum HD8, through OBS, and into YouTube. And of course, whenever you hear Studio One, you're hearing that going through the loopback that is built into the Quantum HD8 as well. So the audio quality, what the hell? It came out of my tooth. Damn it. The audio quality of my shows is completely 100% down to the Quantum HD8. No question. Just Bob says, a set of loops or keyboard Rhodes settings labeled as the Jonny Lipsham Experience, a collection of your favorite settings. Man, I wish I'd been asked to do that. That's for sure. I wish I had been asked to do that. That's for sure. Now, there is, if you are a member of Studio One Pro Plus, and I have to say this, a rather excellent couple of loop libraries that come with that are Rhodes based entirely. I think they are Thunder Rhodes Volume 1 and Thunder Rhodes Volume 2, I think that's what they're called. Somebody who has a Studio One Pro Plus membership will be able to correct me on that. because it's those loops and samples are actually really, really good. They are based not just on the Rhodes Mark 1, but there is Rhodes Mark 2, and there are a couple of loops that actually use the Mark 5. The one that I'm featuring on the Nord at the moment is the Rhodes Mark 2. So that's the Rhodes Mark 2. But this does have a Rhodes Mark 1, which I actually don't like. See if I can find it. Yeah, this one here. This is the Rhodes Mark 1 that they sampled. I don't actually like that. To me, that doesn't necessarily sound that much like the Rhodes Mark 1. But it does have a Rhodes Mark 5, which actually sounds exactly like my very own Mark 5 that I have. Turn the old reverb off there. So that actually really does sound like the Rhodes Mark 5. I actually have a Rhodes Mark 5, and that to me is as close as you could possibly get. But that's on the Nord. But the sample package that's available in Studio One Pro Plus is actually very, very good. Mark says they need to make a DP88 type add-on for Quantum. Like, oh, I see what you mean, because the DP88 is basically like a digital extension. Gives you like 16 extra inputs via ADAT into something like the HD8. Now, here's the thing with the Quantum HD8, you can stack those suckers. So if you've got the bucks for having more than one HD8, you can stack them. You can connect those two via ADAT to give you even more inputs. So you can double up the inputs. I think you can stack them 4 times over. So you could have like 4 HD8s and have all of that I/O. Billy says a new version of Studio One in January. Holy crap balls. That is one ballsy prediction. When you say a new version, do you mean like a new 0.0 version, or do you mean like 7.3? That would be interesting if you could clarify that. That would be interesting. Because I think 7.3, I mean, when did 7.2 come out? That came out in what? The last update for 7.2, I think, was in October. 7.2.3. So maybe 7.3 would be kind of more what would be expected to come next, I would think. So Billy, if you're talking about like a version 8 or something like that, that would be an incredibly ballsy prediction for sure. I would love to see whether you mean 7.3 or something else. Oh, you do actually mean version 8. Okay. Wow. I mean, we're in January already, so okay, you have 30 days to see if that prediction is going to come true. I would be very, very impressed. And in fact, Billy, if that does happen, if that really does actually happen, when that happens, Billy, you can come back in the chat and you can say, hey, that was me. I predicted that. So please do that. Chris says, I hope for a better GUI colors for font and control. Old people don't have great vision. Just ask Dave. Yeah, Dave's vision's maybe not that great. I don't know. I mean, fortunately, colors and things like that can be adjusted in the appearance settings. So if you go Studio One Options or Studio One Preferences, if you're on a Mac, and you go into General and then Appearance, you can use the hue and contrast sliders there, and you can change some of the colors. But I agree, maybe some of the fonts could be changed so that they are better for people that maybe have, less vision as we get older. I hear you on that for sure. Dave says, yeah, all good. Usually when a project is ongoing, the issue is immediate. So I play with the issue before I ask for salvations. Classic Davism right there. Sean Aaron says, and the amp, depending on value, would come with a 6 to 12 month Studio One. Yeah, I would think if, see, the thing is, hardware products nowadays, they don't come with subscriptions. They come with perpetual licenses. So I think it's much more likely that if there is such an amp that you talk about here, I think it's more likely it is going to come with a perpetual license. Billy says, V8, yes, it's time. Well, I don't know. I mean, version 7 came out in October 2024. It would be, 14 months? That's actually quite a short cycle for Studio One. Especially if you go back to version 6. Version 6 was like just over 2 years. Version 5 was round about pretty much exactly 2 years. Version 4 was, I think version 4 might have been 16 months. I'm trying to think. I think the longest the longest life cycle for a version of Studio One belongs to version 3, because that was like 3 years and 2 months. So if you remember when version 2 finished, which was 2.6.5, and then when we got to version 4, that was about 3 years and 3 months, I think. If I've done my sums correctly, I think it was about 3 years and 3 months. So that was maybe the longest, but certainly if you look at versions 5, 6, and 7, it is, well, certainly 5 and 6. It is round about 2-ish years before there's a new version. So version 5 to version 6 was round about 2 years. 6 to 7 was round about 2 years-ish. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's going to be the end of 2026. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one. Just Bob says, Ampere Effects Pedal adds Univibe 5 in Ampere Effects Pedal. Add a talk box. Works off the recorded vocal file, not real time, has knobs to dial in effect. Okay, so you're kind of like talking about like a obviously a talk box. Now, one of the things we do have in Studio One already is a vocoder. And I think somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I made a video where I did actually feature the vocoder. It might have been a live stream, actually, where I featured the vocoder. But yeah, a talk box would be quite interesting. See, if there was a talk box in Studio One in Empire, you know what? I could do like a cover of Steely Dan's East St. Louis Toodaloo, which features Walter Becker's guitar with the talk box. Interesting fun fact, actually, with East St. Louis Toodaloo. First of all, it was written by Duke Ellington. Second of all, when Steely Dan covered it, the guitar part was recorded by Dean. I think it was Dean Parks that recorded the lead guitar part, and then Walter Becker did the talk box after the fact. And the reason for that was they were going for lead trumpet player in the Duke Ellington band, who was called Bubba Miley. He had this really, really very, very distinctive wah-wah effect that he got with a bowler hat over the end of the trumpet, over the bell of the trumpet. And he used the hat to basically create the open and closed kind of wah-wah effect with his trumpet. And it was a particular effect that he got when he recorded East St. Louis Toodaloo with the Duke Ellington band. And of course, Becker and Fagan are big Ellington fans. R.I.P. Walter Becker, obviously, died in 2017. But yeah, they are big Ellington fans, and so they were trying to recreate Bubba Miley's lead trumpet with the wah-wah by using the talk box. And yes, vocoder is obviously not the same thing as a talk box, for sure. Not the same thing. Vocoder was in 6. Okay, yes, yeah, so I definitely did a video for that. I remember doing a video for that. And I seem to recall I wrote this really, really cheesy song where I improvised the lyrics saying that this was the greatest effect ever added to Personas, I think, or something like that. I improvised the lyrics for that. What did I sing? Something like, I love the vocoder. It really is the best thing that Personas has ever done, or something like that. Something equally silly to demonstrate the vocoder. Let me see if I still actually have that song. I might actually still have that actual song. Because if I still actually have that vocoder song, I will play it for you. See if I can find it. And guess what, folks? I still have that song.
It's really very cool. It is the best thing Personas has ever done. It really floats my boat. I really, really love it. Cool doesn't cut it. It really is the best. Check this A flat minor chord. Tune this G flat 7. D flat 7. D flat minor. This vocoder. It's really very cool. It is the best thing Personas has ever done. It really floats my boat. I really, really love it. Cool doesn't cut it. It really is the best. Check this A flat minor chord. Tune this G flat 7. D flat 7. D flat minor.
So there you go. And yes, they used the plumber's plunger for the wah-wah sound, but you could do it with a bowler hat as well. So there you go. That's that particular song that I did. That was actually surprisingly easy to find. I thought I was not going to be able to find that. So there we go. I found it. Let's see. Robert Kane says, improved, more real-time level monitoring like plugs levels to know where mix sits. There are tools in the project page that not that I'm aware of anywhere else in Studio One, not plugs LUFS. You are mistaken, my friend. The level meter is available in Studio One, and it does have an LUFS setting. So you can actually do that. And also, the main output channel, you can set that into K20, K12, K14 modes, which will give you obviously K system metering, but that is akin to the LUFS values. But yes, you can use the level meter. I can show you that. Stand by. Let me go open this other song again. And I can show you the level meter. I'm sure you've seen it, but I'm going to show you just in case you haven't. Let's go back over here. Let's go here. Oops, didn't want to show you that screen. So here is the level meter. And you can set this into EBU R128 mode. And when you set it into that, you can click this button at the bottom here that says LUFS. So if I play this tune here. And it gives you your LUFS integrated level and your loudness range in loudness units, plus your true peak values, and your short to midterm values as well, and your correlation as well. So the level meter, you can put this on the post of the main out, but you can also put it anywhere you like. So you could put this across all of your channels in your inserts, and you can set it in LUFS mode, and it will tell you the LUFS output of each of those channels. Personally, I don't think you would want LUFS values on each of your channels. You want your LUFS value in the post fader section of your main output, and you can use the level meter to do just that. Like you say, you are correct. In the project page, that is all integrated. So all of those values are integrated in the project page. They're not in the song page, but you can set this guy up to do that. And you can also right click here and you can stick this in K20, K14, K12. And you can have it post-fader metering or pre-fader metering, whichever you prefer. I have it set in post-fader. But I also tend to have this set into K20 as well. But at the moment, I just have it at peak RMS. But the level meter can be, whilst this can be set into peak RMS, so the main channel fader here is in peak RMS, the level meter can be in LUFS and can show you your LUFS values without any difficulty at all. But that's a good point, and it's well made. And yes, you can resize the level meter. So you can make it tall, you can make it short, you can make it horizontal if you want. You can do all sorts of things with it. Thank you, Billy, for posting the video on the vocoder. I appreciate that. Robert Kane says, interesting, I've not used that a lot. I use third-party plugins. I'll have to use that and learn. Yeah, the level meter is actually really, really useful. And it's just there. It's built into Studio One. It's one of those plugins that some people would say, hey, this is one of those slept-on plugins. I don't quite understand the analogy of slept on, but okay, I will take it. Where people say, hey, this is a plugin that's just not used very often and maybe should be used much more often than it actually is. Level meter, I would argue, is definitely one of those that doesn't get a whole lot of attention. Because, hey, it's a level meter. It's not particularly sexy. EQs, compressors, reverbs, delays, all of those things, those are sexy. Those are great. You use those all the time. Level meters, maybe not so much. So, you know, there's not quite so much sex appeal. It doesn't have tits. I'm kidding. I'm being silly. But I think you get my point. Level meters are just not very sexy, which is why the level meter in Studio One kind of gets overlooked, and people use other level meters from different third-party companies. Just Bob says, great show. I have to go expel all of the last year's negativity to make room for all of next year's positivity. Mental cleansing of the hoose. Peace and love. See you Sunday. Thank you very much, mate. Just Bob, I appreciate you immensely. You have been around since almost the very beginning, actually. Almost the very beginning. Kyle Trajuziak, I think, has been around since the very beginning of my live streaming. And I think, Bob, you have been around pretty much almost the same time, I think. We got 13 people left here. So if you guys want me to keep going, I will. But if you guys are beginning to wilt and losing the will to live, with me droning on and on here, then we will call it a night. It is 2:45 in the morning. I don't mind carrying on for another wee while, but it's kind of up to you. This particular show, the Hogmanay Show, is always kind of up to you, to be honest. So if you guys want me to keep going, I'll keep going. Otherwise, I will end the show. And maybe if Rich Cresswell is still around, or if Ron is around, or if somebody else is around that wants to do an after show party, then after show party can be done. And you can all go and drink and see in the new year in your particular part of the world over there if you want to. But I'm happy to keep going. I have a full glass of the bubbly shit. There you go. Bob says, Bobby Booth and Kyle round out the three of us that have been around since the beginning. There you go. Bobby Booth, Kyle Trajuziak, and Bob Birdie. You guys have been around since the very start, and I appreciate your support immensely. You guys mean the world to me. So thank you for being around since the start. I appreciate it a lot. Robert Kane says about 2 hours left of 2025, getting ready to say fuck you to 2025 and hello, welcome to 2026, and you better be new and improved. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for upgrades in 2026. You're not kidding. Too right. You know, I'm about almost 3 hours into 2026, and I'll tell you this. It's actually pretty good. Nobody actually has spoken to me about anything political since 2026 started here. So I'm happy with that. If people are not going to be particularly political in 2026, great. Not to say that politics is bad. Politics isn't bad. Politics generally isn't bad. Politics in general is a good thing. It is kind of how we use politics and how we use politics to help and serve others. That's where it is. That's where the rubber hits the road. If we use politics to help others and put others first and make others more important than ourselves, then it's all good. Politics that doesn't do that, that's not good. Politics that serves the self first, that gets you short-term gain and long-term loss. Long-term gain is when you serve others and you put other people first. Because when you put other people first, those people that you put first will come back to you with blessings. That's how it works. Let's see. Brett says, I'm going to duck out because I want to dive into some music. You go and do that, mate. I appreciate you as well. Just Bob is sending me much love, which is wonderful. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it very much. Sean Aaron says later, Brett. Casmo51 says I'm in Vegaland, but in insomnia mode. And you're sober as well, my God. Dude, go get yourself a beer, seriously. Although it's probably 4 o'clock in the morning for you, so you're probably not going to find anywhere open that's going to be able to sell you a beer. But if you've got a fridge full of the shit, go get one. Brett says, Happy New Year, everyone, and thanks for everything, Jonny Lipsham Studios. Thank you very much, Brett, for your support and for being around here. Oh, you're in Glasgow. Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning. Good luck finding a pint at 3 o'clock in the morning, mate. For sure. I'm just outside of Edinburgh. I'm about 20 minutes southeast of Edinburgh, so you probably know where I am, more or less. But always good to have another Scot here as well. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, man. 3 o'clock in the morning and not having any alcohol in is not great on New Year's, but I'm glad you're here nonetheless. So thank you for dropping in and visiting from Glasgow. I have family in Glasgow. I have family in Paisley. I have family in the Highlands, which is where I'm, that's my family home. That's my roots, is the Highlands, the northwest coast of Scotland, and the Highlands and Islands. That's where my family roots are. My family roots are on the island of South Uist, but also the northwest highlands of the mainland as well. But yeah, I moved to England when I was very young and lost the accent for many, many years. And then I came back here in 2006, and it's slowly coming back with a bit of a kind of southeast Edinburgh kind of twist. But yes, I am starting my 20th year back home, which is nice. I lived in London for 12 years. Before that, I lived in Cornwall for 9 years. And before that, I lived in Manchester and Liverpool for a few years. Not that many years, but a few. But that's been the story of my life, really. I've kind of gone north all the way down to the far southwest of England, and then all the way back to Scotland again. So via London and Manchester and Liverpool. Great cities, by the way, in the UK. Love them very much. But Scotland is my home. It has always been my home. It will always be my home wherever I am in the world. So even if I end up in some other far-flung part of the globe, Scotland will always be my home, and it's where my heart has always been, even all those years when I lived in England. So there we go. Any other questions or any other kind of stuff you want to talk about to do with Studio One and music making and shit like that? Because I have some champagne that I need to finish. And I would rather finish it talking to you guys than finish it on my own. So get your stuff in the chat here. We've been going now for an hour and 45 minutes, more or less. And I would still like to take your questions if you're still here, because there's like 15 people still here, which is amazing. We peaked at like 20 earlier on, which was nice. But it'd be nice if we could take some more questions. Okay, so Casmos says he's found a bug in Studio One. You may have found a bug in Studio One. Because, there is no software that doesn't have bugs. Pretty much every software I'm using software right now. I'm using Studio One, but I'm also using OBS, and I'm well aware that there are bugs in OBS at the moment that I am having to work around. Bob Kane says, I'm Scottish somewhere in my family tree, but don't know the origin. Obviously, the last name is Irish. Yeah, I guess Kane would be Irish, but it could also be English as well. Ken says, farewell, my friend. Looking forward to following your wisdom in 26. Ken, thank you so much, mate. And thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thanks for being involved in the show tonight as well. Appreciate it. Carl says he's good for another hour. Okay. In the inspector. Okay. Cosmos says he's found the bug in the inspector. Okay, you're going to have to go into a little bit more detail. Granted, there's not that many characters. But if you found a bug in the inspector, what I recommend you do is make a support ticket. Okay, so log into your account, click on support, then click on the button that says create a new ticket. Detail out your steps to reproduce. And one of our tech support agents will pick that up and they will see if they can reproduce your issue. And if they can, they will pass that over to QA, and QA will take a look and investigate. Juan is here, everybody. Drum roll for Juan. He says, hello, sorry, here it's 11:50 and I have all my family here. He says, thank you all. Carl sent me a DM. I have to go back to the family, but truly thanks. Juan, you are very welcome, my friend. Congratulations. Well done. Thank you for dropping by to say hello. And I'm glad that Kyle reached out to you, so you know that you have won the Christmas Songwriting Challenge for 2025. Well done, mate. Go and spend time with your family, because New Year's 2026 will be coming to you in a few minutes. So please go do that. Family is more important than my crappy little show. He says, oh, so Cosmos says, okay, just a text bug. Okay, no problem. Yeah, please do document it. Take some screenshots. Get it into a support ticket with your screenshots so that they can see what you can see. Because that will be the first thing they ask you. Even if you tell them exactly the steps to reproduce, I can guarantee you the first thing they'll say is, hey, send us a screenshot of that so that we can see what you're seeing. And also they can pass that on to QA, and QA will be able to see the whole thing as well. And they'll be able to go, oh, okay, yeah, we can fix that. Or, we can't reproduce that. So, because that's how it works. Tech support will see if they can reproduce it. If they can, they will pass that over to QA, and QA will then be able to investigate that. That's the line of succession in software. Tech support, they will try and reproduce it. If they can, they pass it to QA. QA will see if they can reproduce it, and they will investigate and see what's going to be done. If they can reproduce it. If they can't reproduce it, no repro, no fixo. That's basically the tagline, I guess, of tech support. No fixo. No repro, no fixo, basically. Matt is here. He says, greetings, happy whatever. Yeah, it'll be New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's. I know no more than I did before 2025. Yeah, I think that goes for quite a lot of us as well, mate. So let's see, how many people do we have here? Oh, the analytics have decided not to show me how many people we currently have. I don't know why it did that. It has been showing me for the whole show, but now it won't. Let's see, hang on. Okay, we've got 13 people. 13 people here. But I'm going to make a decision here. I'm going to say that we are going to end in 6 minutes. Okay, so at 3 a.m. GMT, we will wrap this show up. Because that will basically mean we will have gone on for nearly 2 hours, which is much longer than we would normally run for. We normally run for an hour on a live stream show. So 2 hours, I think, is pretty good. But yes, I have definitely had plenty to drink. That is for sure. For those of you that are interested in how much I've consumed, I had half a bottle of red wine And let's see, 2/3 of a bottle of this stuff, Prosecco. But I had already had half a bottle of the Prosecco because we have 2 bottles of these, and I had half of it with my wife. So I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. And I'm trying to be very careful not to destroy this glass. You see this glass? Look how gorgeous that is. Look how beautiful that is. We got these glasses when we bought this house. So these are kind of sentimental glasses. So I'm trying to be careful not to break these. Okay. Anybody got anything else that they want to say about 2026? Or any questions that you have about Studio One? Because I'm going to wrap this show up in 3 minutes. But I'd love to take at least one more question. At least one more. Or one more prediction of future PreSonus technology coming in 2026. So if you have something, please say it now, because this show will be wrapping up in 3 minutes' time. But I would definitely like to get something else in here. But whilst we're waiting for that, I just want to say thank you very much to every single one of you for all of your support in 2025. Thank you to every single one of my almost, not quite, we've got about 78 to go. But I want to thank every one of you, almost 6,000 subscribers, for all of your support, for all of your likes, for all of your comments on the videos, on the live streams. I appreciate it all very, very much. You guys are the best people on the planet. I love you guys. I appreciate you very, very much. And please do keep up the support in 2026. There is a lot more stuff coming for 2026. I guarantee you that. There will be more videos. There will be more live streams. There will be all sorts of awesome shit coming to this channel in 2026. I guarantee it. I have already been working on content that will be going live on this channel in 2026. So look out for it. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you have hit that notification bell. Make sure you have selected all notifications so you don't miss a fucking thing, because this channel is about to get epic for content. For sure. Related to Studio One, Notion, there's going to be a lot of stuff. It's going to be great. I have been very, very busy making stuff for the channel for 2026 already. So I'm very excited to be able to release it and unveil it to you all. It's going to be great. Matt says, keeping postings of meetups in 2026. Right now on the website, there are no postings for meetups in 2026. But I'm pretty sure it will be updated as soon as possible this month. The reason why they haven't been updated for 2026 is because pretty much everybody that does that kind of stuff, like the people that do all the updates for that, which is Gregor's on vacation. He has a wife and he has a family, so he has been on vacation for Christmas and New Year. As soon as he is back, I'm pretty sure he will add all the new meetups. Meetups, I don't think are going anywhere. So, at least I haven't been told they're going anywhere. I haven't been told they're stopping. And I would have thought, seeing as I run one of them, I would be told. But no, I have not been told that they are stopping. So, I'm very, very, very certain that you will see listings for new meetups very soon on both personas.com and on my.personas.com as well. All right, so we are at 3 a.m. We've only got 9 people here, so I'm going to call it a day, literally, because it is 3 o'clock in the morning here. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me for the Hogmanay Show for 2026. I'm really looking forward to all the stuff that I'm going to bring to you this year. It's very exciting. There will be more songwriting challenges. Don't worry about that. They will keep coming. It's going to be great. And we're going to have a lot to talk about together on these shows. So I will see you folks on Sunday for the first Sunday Night Live of 2026. And I need to get my outro music together. Hang on. I fucked up. That was supposed to be a very slick ending and it didn't work at all. Stephen says, thank you for all you do. Thank you, Stephen, for being around and being a subscriber. Love you guys. I'm going to finish off the rest of my champagne and probably collapse in a heap at the back of the studio and fall asleep. Cheers, guys. Good night.